Quick warning before we start, the following exotic quest takes place after the campaign is over. If you have not done the campaign, please leave unless you really do not care about spoilers. Because there are spoilers. The Parasite exotic grenade launcher will become available to get via a quest that you receive immediately after the end of the campaign. You will speak to Marasov at the Enclave, and she will talk about her plans for Savathun's worm. The first thing you will do is run the Birthplace of the Vile strike. There's nothing special here, you just need to run the strike. You can run it right out of the director menu. Most of the steps here will be very self-explanatory. You shouldn't need a ton of help figuring things out. After that, you are taking a trip, a long trip to the Temple of the Cunning. Now, while I know there's a portal to get to where you do all of the memory stuff in the campaign, I don't know if there is one for the Temple of the Cunning. So you're probably just gonna have to hoof it, but if there is another shorter path that is found, please feel free to drop that in the comments. Otherwise, just keep going down this path. The waypoint in your HUD will seem like it's telling you to go the wrong way. Just keep going down the path. Keep going, and you will get there eventually. Once you do finally get there, kill all of the Scorn that pop up to progress. The next step requires you to kill 100 Scorn in the Throne World. The best way to do this is to do the new public event where you need to push the payload. There's a lot of Scorn in this event. Otherwise, going into the Extraction Lost Sector isn't a bad idea. It has a decent amount of Scorn at the start. Or going to Metamorphosis, which is a Lost Sector in the Miasma. You could also run the Birthplace Strike again. After your 100 kills, you're heading to the Sepulcher Lost Sector in the Fluorescent Canal.
Sepulcher.
Whatever. Complete the Lost Sector and place the worm on the pedestal at the end. You will need to use Deep Sight in order to reveal a platform to jump on, to jump through a window to get to the pedestal. I don't think you actually need Deep Sight, but that's neither here nor there. You're going to need it for the other two, so just get used to it. After that, you need to do 3 patrols. So just pick whatever's easiest. Some of the kill missions kind of have specific requirements, so maybe just do the ghost ones where you gotta drive around a whole lot. Most of the rest of the steps are gonna have you running around to different areas of the map, picking up cryptoglyphs and doing lost sectors, placing the worm on the pedestals at the end of said lost sectors. After the 3 patrols, you're heading to Queen's Bailey to get a cryptoglyph rune. The HUD indicator will take you right to it. Be sure to track the quest on your quest page, and this should be no problem at all. Kill all of the Scorn when you get there. After that, you're heading to the Metamorphosis Lost Sector in the Miasma, going to the end and placing the worm on the pedestal. Be careful not to get sucked into the launcher that puts you back at the beginning of the Lost Sector though. Again, you will use Deep Sight to reveal the hidden path to the pedestal. Next, you're heading to the Alluring Curtain, which is south on the map, to grab another cryptoglyph. Again, just let your HUD do a lot of the heavy lifting here, track the quest, and just follow along while it's tracked. There is a little bit of platforming, but you've done this in the campaign, shouldn't be a huge deal. If you do get stuck on the way to the objective, like you don't see really where to go, look out for Deep Sight, and that should reveal the path going forward. Once you do get to the objective, kill all of the hive here. You're not going to get the cryptoglyph, but instead you will get a Deep Sight node, which spawns a whole bunch of platforms. 3 of these platforms have an unlit torch on them. Shoot the torch to light it, shoot all 3 to spawn the chest, and no, you should not feel dumb if you didn't realize this is what you needed to do. Next, you're heading to, you guessed it, another Lost Sector. This time it's Extraction in the Quagmire. You're going to do the same thing, clear it all out, get to the end, hit the Deep Sight to reveal the path, and then drop the worm in the pedestal. After that, you're heading back to Fynch to collect an item which goes in the power slot, so make sure you have a slot open. And then you're going to do the final mission, Parasitic Pilgrimage. This mission is pretty fun. It requires you to frantically run around with the worm in your hands. I don't really want to spoil it too much, so I'm going to keep it pretty brief here. The first part is sprinting around with the worm, the second is a little bit of platforming, and then the final part is where you just get to spam the crap out of the gun. After the mission is over, the quest is complete. So, Parasite is a pretty interesting grenade launcher, definitely not your typical. It has 2 different perks going. The first is Worm Byproduct. Whenever you damage yourself using this grenade launcher, you get a 15% boost to all weapons for 10 seconds. When the weapon is at its lowest power, you can't really kill yourself with the grenade launcher by shooting yourself or like shooting the floor directly in front of you. That being said, not sure how much I'd really recommend using this weapon purely to buff your damage in this way, because it's a lot more exciting than that. The other perk is where things get a bit more fun. Worm's Hunger is a stacking buff that is applied to you whenever you get a kill with a different gun. This stacks as high as 20 times. You will only see the number of stacks that you have of this buff when you have Parasite actively in your hands. The more stacks you have when you fire the weapon, the more damage it's going to do. Note that you will kill yourself with this grenade launcher if you are stacked to 20 and you shoot the floor or you shoot something very close to you. I'm sure there's a specific number where you will be able to survive. I don't know what that number of stacks is because it's 1 in the morning and I just cannot be bothered right now. But important to know that a decent amount of the time when I shot Parasite at 20 stacks, if my target was close enough, the explosion was so big that I was able to get Worm Byproduct after I fired this shot. Essentially, what you're doing here with this gun is you're getting as many kills as possible with other weapons and then finding a big target and then you give them the business with Parasite. For example, let's take a look at this wizard. At 20 stacks, it deals over 300,000 damage to the target with a direct impact, which is extreme overkill, as even a single shot with no stacks almost completely kills this target. But this should still give you a pretty good idea of how much damage this weapon can put out on a single target or group of enemies. Most of the time, I imagine a 20 stack shot will be extreme overkill on everything outside of bosses or things in super, super high level content. This is a pretty fun gun to use. It will take a little bit of time getting used to the arc of the shot though. It does not travel very far, as you can see by its pretty low velocity. And that's going to do it for Parasite. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time.